Hey all, we're going to talk today about symmetry. There's two different types of symmetry that we're going to focus on. First type is line symmetry. So this occurs if we can draw any line or lines. So a figure can have more than one line of symmetry, but if we can draw a line through a figure, and if we reflect the figure over that line, it looks exactly the same. So the reflection is the image of the original figure. So this example, this trapezoid, you can draw this red line through the middle. And if you can imagine folding this trapezoid over this red line, it would look exactly the same. So it's symmetrical because if we reflect over this line, the image will remain unchanged. It'll look exactly the same as it started. Another type of symmetry is point symmetry. So a figure has point symmetry if there's a point that you can rotate the figure around 180 degrees and the figure looks the same. So for example, this square, if we rotate it around this point, which is right in the center of the square, 180 degrees, so that means 90, 180, oop, I went a little bit further, and it looks exactly the same. So this square has point symmetry because there's a point in the middle here. If I rotate it 180 degrees, the picture is unchanged. You might also notice that this square has line symmetry, so I can put a line down the middle and if I reflect over this line, the picture is unchanged. I could also put a line horizontally through the middle, reflect over that line, take this one away. If I reflected over this line, it would remain unchanged. So squares have a lot of symmetry. So some things have point symmetry, some things have line symmetry, some things have both, some have multiple lines, and some are just not symmetrical at all. So let's take a look at these letters here. These are done in the Arial font. So let's see what kind of symmetry they have. The letter A, there's not really a point I can draw on the letter A that would allow me to rotate it 180 degrees and it look the same. It's going to look very different. So it doesn't have point symmetry. But if we take a line and we draw it right down the middle of the letter, we can see that if we reflect it over this line, that our picture would remain unchanged. So if we folded letter A over this line, it would still look exactly the same. So this has one line of symmetry. Sometimes it's called reflectional symmetry. Let's look at the letter N. If we rotate this letter N 180 degrees, it looks the same. So that means it's going to have point symmetry, and the point where it's symmetrical is right in the middle. So we're rotating about that point. If we rotate 180 degrees like I just showed you, it would be the same. So this has point symmetry. And there's not really a line that I can draw. If I draw a line to the middle here, N is not going to look the same. It's going to be backwards. If I draw a line to the middle horizontally, it's not going to look the same. It'll be upside down. So all we have for N is point symmetry. If we look at H, we'll look for point symmetry first. I believe if we draw a point in the center, and we rotate this letter 180 degrees, it looks the same. So it has point symmetry. It's also going to have line symmetry. Draw a line vertically to that center point, and we fold or reflect H over that line, it's going to look exactly the same. It's got a second line of symmetry as well if we go horizontally through the middle. And we fold H over that horizontal line, it's going to look exactly the same. So this has two lines of symmetry. So the letter H is very symmetrical. And we can look for line symmetry, point symmetry. We can look for that anywhere in the world. And things have line symmetry, things have point symmetry. In fact, some of the things that we see as the most beautiful are symmetrical, and our eyes recognize them as being beautiful. So what I want you to do is look at these letters P, Y, and O, and determine whether they have point symmetry, line symmetry, if they have both, if they have multiple lines of symmetry. Try those three, and we'll discuss them in class.